Hey, everybody, it is Brita here for the Happier Attorney, and we are live today answering your questions. And today, let me turn on the light here, that would be helpful. So, today's question was posted, it was actually more of a statement, but it was posted in the Facebook group, Attorneys and Flat Fees. And here is the statement. Has anyone had a potential client try to turn a project from flat fee to hourly rate with a not to exceed amount? I just quoted a flat fee for a project, and the potential client sent a red line to my engagement letter back, trying to turn it into an hourly rate not to exceed the flat fee I quoted. I stuck to my guns and declined to change the fee agreement. The work is in a niche subject matter where I have a ton of experience, and there's not many attorneys that do, wanting to see if she moves forward under the flat fee. So there were 37 comments, and some of them were really funny, quite frankly. But everyone, it was absolutely unanimous. Everyone was like, nope, 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 run, run, run. Do not work for this blue person. So there's two things going on here. The first is that, just to be clear, you don't mix up hourly and flat fees. You don't cap a flat fee. That doesn't work. You can get into big ethical trouble if you try and do an hourly, but it's capped at a certain amount. You either do hourly and it's not capped, or you do a flat fee, but you don't try and mix them up. Okay. Don't ever do that. That is secondary to the real issue here. The real issue here is boundaries. It takes a lot of nerve for a potential client to do what this client did. And I agree with everyone. The red flags here are a flying. This client is going to be the one who thinks that they are the captain of the ship, and they're not. They're not. They're not in control. They don't get to tell you what to charge. They don't get to tell you what your fee agreement should say. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. And some of the responses were great. I would redline the whole engagement letter. The nerve. They are demanding you bear the entire risk and that you be required to put in more time than that. Yeah, exactly. Lots of people said this is a red flag for the client. No way I would move forward with them. I would send an email immediately that I will not be working with them, and that no attorney-client relationship has been formed. This is going to be a disaster relationship, not worth the money. I absolutely agree with that comment. This potential client is trying to grab the reins right from the get-go. Right from the get-go. You are going to be struggling with this client the whole time. And they obviously don't see the value here. If they're trying to manipulate, that's what it is. They're trying to manipulate a lower price. No, no, no. It's going to take so much of your time and so much of your energy. Almost overwhelmingly, the attorney sentiment was just decline representation. This is just not worth your time. One person, John, said, I would suggest to them that since you are now negotiating against each other, that they need legal representation. It was awesome. Clearly, it was a joke. Yeah, if they don't agree to your fee, they can go elsewhere. It's just that simple. And the most important thing is to stick with what you know is right. You are the lawyer. You set the terms. This is your fee agreement. It's not up for negotiation. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't some things that might be up for negotiation, but anytime somebody wants to negotiate with me from the get-go, a potential client, that's going to be raising some red flags. And one person talked about how this person flat fee wouldn't work for them because they would be an energy vampire, essentially. Well, The problem with that is that that's energy vampires. That has nothing to do with flat fees. That's not a flat fee issue. That's a boundary issue. That's the attorney issue. And you can use flat fees in anything. You just have to set good boundaries and keep those boundaries with the client. So I don't agree with that comment, but other than that, I totally agree with the comments that this is going to be a problem. If they are pushing boundaries that fast, that's probably going to be a problem. So can it be saved? Maybe, but I would go forward very, very slowly and carefully. Let's see if there are any questions. Yes, Jamie, yes. Jamie is here. Put your question in the comments. Absolutely. I will wait for that. So the way that I explain boundaries sometimes to clients in a way that they can understand is captain of the ship, captain of the airplane, okay? You tell me where you want to go. You tell me what the goals are that you have, but I'm the captain of the ship. I get to tell us how we get there. I get to decide how we get there, period. And I have to be in charge. So when I tell you to do something, I need you to do it. When I tell you not to do something, you cannot do it. Why? Because it's a safety issue. Just like a ship or an airplane, it's a safety issue. The pilots can't and captains can't mess around. You can't have somebody messing around on a plane. It's not safe for everybody, and they're responsible. So you're going to get kicked off real quick. You have to have that same attitude with your clients. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but absolutely they need to know who's in charge and what decisions they get to make or even have input on, and what decisions they don't. And you need to be very clear on that as well. What decisions you get to make that they don't even need to have a comment on. Okay? So when someone is starting to violate, if you can educate them, because some people just don't know, fine. But if they continue to push the boundaries, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Get out. Because the little bit of money that you're going to make is, at the end of the day, not going to be worth the time and the energy that it took away from good clients, took away from happy clients, clients that you actually really want to do the work for. And generally, in my experience and with working with so many other attorneys, the worst clients are the ones who you didn't even make money off of in the first place. Okay? You're working for free. So let's see if there's any other questions. I see one, but it's more if this is the appropriate place, which it is. Here we go. Okay. This is Jamie. Would you recommend in a I can't even speak. Oh my goodness. Would you recommend in a pre-screening questionnaire to ask whether they are able to make the flat fee investment in a range? What would you what would be your budget for X? It, probably not. Okay, so the purpose of this, I understand the purpose. It's to screen out people who have no intention of paying or couldn't pay. Okay, I get it. I think that, so that's a positive thing. However, I think that there's other ways that you can tell people, give them an idea of what your fees are to screen them out in the first place. So number one, the quality of your contacts with them, the quality of your website, the quality of your, the look, feel of your firm. Number two, charging a healthy initial consultation fee. You can call it, we call it an assessment, where they're actually getting legal advice. They're getting clarity. They're getting steps going forward. This is not just a meet and greet, but you are charging a good fee for that. Now, if you choose, you can take it off of the back end, if they hire you. But if someone is not willing to spend, you know, $300, $500, $700, especially if it's getting taken off, because if somebody's paying me 20 grand, that's fine. I'll take the initial assessment off the back end. But if they're not willing to do that, they're not really serious about going forward with an attorney. Okay. We just had this on a coaching call with attorneys this morning. We had this exact same issue. And part of the issue with one attorney was in his area, nobody charged an initial fee. Other attorneys didn't. So it was crafting how you communicate with the potential client of why they're charging an initial consultation fee and why it's in the client's best interest. Why free ain't free. What they're going to get paying versus what they're going to get for free elsewhere. Okay? Because people don't know. So it's explaining to them what the actual cost of the free is. They're missing time off work. They're not getting any legal advice. They're not getting clarity. They just wasted all of this time. And especially like in family law, they don't have time to waste. All right. So I would be charging, and I would be, I think that if you have kind of a really set price, because people do want to know, fine, you can say that our price start at, X and go up to Y, and it can be a huge range. That's what the initial consultation is for. That's the attorney will set that price during that time. But I can tell you, we start at, $5,000 and we go up to, $500,000. I don't know. I'm making up numbers, but you can. So if somebody's not even in the ballpark, they're not going to come in to you. So I think that there's other ways that you can do that other than asking them if they're able to make the flat fee investment in a range. Now, with that said, when I am seeking people out, when people are seeking to work with me, attorneys are working with me, I flat out ask them, do you have the funds to invest in your practice? Because I charge a fee because I want them to know working with me is not cheap. And if somebody has no intention or doesn't have the means of investing in their practice, then the avenue for them is to, read my book, which is pretty cheap. It's not to spend time with me when they don't have the funds to go forward. Okay. But even if they choose to go forward, and by the way, that's not a deal breaker. They don't not get a consultation with me. They have to pay for it. But I have absolutely met with people who there's no way they could afford me right now, but maybe they will in 6 months. But either way, or 6 years, but either way, that call with me, they're getting tremendous value from. They are moving the needle in that call. Okay. And I feel differently about it. I show up differently when I'm charging for them. They show up differently when they're charging, when they're paying. So I would, and depending on your practice area, in your pre-screening questionnaire, you can get a lot of information about their finances as well. But don't make the assumption that people can't pay. All right. I think I've done another YouTube video on it. We've all had those cases where the person comes in, they don't have a job, they have no money, they're sleeping on a friend's couch, and you're like, okay, what? Like, you can't afford to do anything with me. And sure enough, their dad or uncle is waiting on the other end of the phone, ready to pay you. So careful on your assumptions, careful on assuming that somebody can't pay. But you can get a lot of their financial information and some of this information first. But whether they can afford you or not moving forward, even if they pay the assessment fee, at least they haven't wasted your time and you don't feel like they've wasted your time. So I don't know that I would ask that specific question. And I would not ask the budget question. What would be your budget for X? I would not ask that because they don't know what is reasonable or not. And that is what the initial consultation is for. They don't know what is reasonable. They don't know why it's going to cost what it costs. And so then you're setting yourself up to be competing just on price. And we don't compete on price. And so you're kind of fulfilling that idea in their head already that, oh, Jamie is $2,000. I can get in this other attorney for $1,500. And they're not comparing what the difference is. So I would not say what is your budget for that at all, because let's say their budget is, let's say it's a business and they're like, oh, our budget's $2,000. Okay. Well, that's great, except that to fix this, it's going to cost $10,000. And if you don't fix it, here's the price. Here's the cost if you don't fix it. Here's what liability you're risking. Here's the relationship with your employees. Here's the time off of work that you're going to be taking. Da 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 da. So when they realize, oh crap, actually, I really need that. I really need the $10,000. Well, it doesn't matter what they budgeted if they need the work. Okay. I mean, think of that. I mean, I'm not trying to be insulting, Jamie, but think of that, flip that on its head, like if you went to a doctor, okay? And how absurd that sounds. So let's say that you have a mole or something that's weird, and you go to the dermatologist and you're like, well, and let's say you don't have insurance, you're self-pay or something like that. And you're like, well, my budget for this is $500. And the doctor's like, okay, well, it's going to cost $2,000 for me to remove that properly. Oh, but that's not my budget. Okay, well, I don't have to remove it. But oh, by the way, that's malignant and you'll die. Guess what? My budget just like, who cares what the budget is, right? So don't ask the budget question. What we do is important. And if we show them what the cost is to not do this work with us, the budget doesn't matter. And the budget has been arbitrarily set in the first place. So to answer your second question, no, I would not ask them what their budget is because it's not reasonable. They don't know what they're talking about. And in many of the issues that we're going to be helping with them, it doesn't matter what their budget is, okay? Because they're going to get crap for that. And they don't need crap. They need good quality. So I hope that answers your question. I don't see any others. Let me just see. Okay. All right. Okay. So I hope you got some value out of this video. And remember that, we set the policy. It has to be that way. Our clients cannot be in control of the aircraft. That's not a good thing. And it means having some uncomfortable conversations. I know. It means having uncomfortable conversations and risking that, this person might not like you or might even write a bad review. That's okay. We'll hold videos on reviews. Don't be scared of bad reviews, okay? But you have to have boundaries with your clients. And when that red flag goes up, do not ignore it. Ignore it at your peril. So subscribe. If you want more information about working with me, go to breedalong.com and get on the newsletter, see about learning flat fees and mindset. And we can actually be happier attorneys. Imagine that. We can. So take care. See you next time.